Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so free agency has been wild, man, and there's so much to talk about. And because I have my Twitter feed in front of me, I figured I'd just start where I left off and work my way all the way up. So we're gonna go through everything the Shams has in front of us here, starting with where did we leave off at? I think the last thing I'll talk to you guys about was Clint Capella going to the Rockets. So if you want to see my reaction to that in real time as it was coming up in my feed as I was looking at the refresh, you can check out the last video on free agency. So this is day 2 of free agency. Fresh out the wake up. I haven't even started my workout. I ain't did nothing but wake up and look at some crazy stuff. Let's get into what just happened. Starting with the furthest thing back, 16 hours ago, Caris LeVert was to announce to have signed a 2-year, $29 million. No, we went through that as well. Brook Lopez signed with the Clippers. We went through that as well. Luka Garza, I think that was the last thing we said. Maybe it was Luka. Luka went to the Clippers, $5 million for 2 years. I thought that was pretty good. He's going to be able to expose how much better he is in Boston than he was able to show in Minnesota. Brook Lopez, 2-year, $18 million with the Clippers. I don't think I reported on that, but the Lakers missed out on Brook Lopez. I didn't have a problem with that. I think the Lakers need to be going after younger. I never wanted older. That wasn't my thing. So, yeah. Nickeil Alexander-Walker signed a 4-year, $62 with the Hawks. I think we talked about that as well. Yes, I do remember reacting rather. Tyus Jones signed a 1-year, $7 million deal with the Orlando Magic. Working out to see if he can get an opportunity to be re-signed at a longer deal, I'd imagine, either there or elsewhere. There's always the option that you could get traded at the trade deadline when you sign a 1-year deal, so keep an eye open for that being possible there in Orlando. But that's a team that's looking to win, so I don't really know if they would move a piece that was really helpful to them, and I think that Tyus will be, so we'll keep an eye open there. Suns signed the Turkish League Cup champion and most valuable player to a 1-year contract. His name is Nigel Hayes Davis. I'm not familiar with him, but the Suns seem like they got a pretty damn talented player from Turkey. Suns are doing a great job in the offseason. Great job. They really are, man. Shams Charania reports that Luke Kennard signed a 1-year, $11 million deal with Atlanta. So they add shooting. I think Atlanta's going to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. They are doing a good job this offseason as well. Very good job. I thought the Nickeil Alexander-Walker contract was a bit steep for me. But just from a pure adding talent to your team standpoint, the Atlanta Hawks look like they're going to be one of the best teams in the entire Eastern Conference this year, man. And you're going to have to take them seriously. So Luke Kennard will add to that. $11 million 1 year. Same thing with him. He could get traded at the deadline. It's a little rich for what it is I expect from him to do, but not. It's a 1-year deal, so I guess you live with that. Let's see. Mason Plumlee went to the Hornets for a 1-year, $3 million deal. I'm actually surprised that he's still around in the NBA, to be honest with you. But he's been with the Hornets before. He's going back there. The deal is dirt cheap. They need a center. He'll give him what he has. Taurean Prince, 2 years, $7 million deal to return to the Bucks. Taurean's a nice shooter. We know that here in LA. Overutilized by Darvin Ham. Still playing for Darvin Ham teams as we speak. The Bucks, of course, have Darvin as a assistant coach, so of course Taurean would stay. That's just how that goes. Jordan Clarkson signed with the Knicks, or is expected to sign with the Knicks. I don't think it's been signed yet. The Knicks are doing a really good job. We'll talk about what else they're about to do as something else was revealed that they've done that kind of shocked me. But the Jordan Clarkson signing, I think, is very good for the Knicks. They need a bench, and Jordan is one of the best bench players in basketball. He's already won a Sixth Man of the Year before. You know, the Knicks turning the corner on Thibodeau means that their bench is likely going to be utilized. I love the signing. I like Jordan Clarkson there. He's not a great defender, but he's a hell of an energy guy. I used to call him weight room, how he finished through contact on layups and stuff like that. I ain't seen him play in like 3 years, but the last time we saw him out there, he was damn near an all-star. Utah just had a logjam and a losing situation. He was stuck there for many, many years, wasted his entire prime in Utah. It was an American tragedy. But I'm glad my guy JC is the hell out of there. He's in a big market again. and I think he's going to shine. If there's anything left in the tank, which I believe it probably is, he's going to shine in New York. So, yeah, I like that signing. Trendon Watford signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, 2-year, $5 million deal, left the Brooklyn Nets. Not mad at that. It's a good signing for them since they did lose somebody else that we'll talk about a little later at that same position. Not necessarily an upgrade from what it is they lost, but definitely a solid player, Trendon Watford. I like him in Portland, and so I'd imagine he's going to do good things in Philadelphia, boosting their front court rotation. Not a bad signing there, 2 years, $5 million. Gary Trent Jr., 2 years, $7 million. To return to the Bucks. The Bucks are doing all types of stuff this morning, things you never thought you'd see. This is not one of those things, though. Gary Trent going back to the Bucks is not too surprising. They've been re-signing a lot of the players that they've had on their team, and this was just another one of those situations there. Yeah. All right. This morning, J.J. Barea decided to be an assistant coach with the Nuggets. So that's that. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 4-year, $285, Supermax, NBA champion, MVP, scoring, got the scoring title, got the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, probably deserve more money than that after the year he's had, to be honest with you. 4 years, $285 is very steep, but hey, man, it's the cream of the crop. What are you going to do? You got to pay the best guys the best money. I don't have any problem with that contract whatsoever. I think they will if he starts having injury issues, but a guy's proven at this point. He's proven. What do you want to do? He's averaging like 37 points a game. He won all the hardware. He got the pinnacle. He won the ring. He deserved the cheese. Period. Nothing to say. Congratulations to him and his family. All right, this is the thing that kind of shocked me, although it's not the most shocking thing of the day, but it did shock the hell out of me. Free agent Guerschon Yabusele signed with the New York Knicks on a 2-year, $12 million contract. Huge, because I thought he was resigning with Philly. I know he was a priority in Philly, and he was good for them. They had him playing center out there most of the time. He was able to thrive, even though I know he's not a center, he's a 4. I love this for the Knicks. Them signing JC and Guerschon Yabusele are 2 underrated moves that have made their bench significantly better. Significantly better. Adding Guerschon alone makes them significantly better. I love the move. And given the fact that they haven't lost anything, if I'm not mistaken, the Knicks haven't made any moves to trade anybody away or anything like that. These are great moves, man. Just to bolster your bench, because they don't really need a lot. They're the Knicks. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals. They were very, very close to getting to the finals, but they just didn't have enough depth to really do anything. Adding Guerschon and Jordan, I think, helps them get where they want to be. I think they got another move or two to make, but those were fantastic additions to an already loaded roster. I know they have to do something with their coaching situation. They don't know who their coach is going to be. But to me, from where I'm sitting, they're making good roster decisions. 2 years, $12 million is great for Guerschon, given what he did for Philly. I know Philly mad he went to the Knicks, and the Knicks, I'm sure, are very happy to have taken him from Philly. But this is great for him, getting the hell out of Philadelphia after the type of year they had. I know things are probably better this year in Philly, but him getting the hell out of there is great for him. And sending him to the New York Knicks is a good thing. So I think New York's doing a great job right now. They just got to figure out what coach they want. From what I understand, Mike Brown is the guy they're looking at. I don't know if that's an upgrade, although Mike Brown is pretty good. I don't think he's an upgrade from Tibbs, but at least Mike Brown will play all 12 of his players. So that's what it is. But Guerschon Yabusele, New York Knicks, great decision. All right. Now, here's the big stuff that made me wake up and say, I got to make this video now. Miles Turner has agreed to a 4-year deal, $107 million with the Milwaukee Bucks. And plus a player option on the 4th year and a full $15 million, 15%, which I'm not sure what that comes out to be, trade kicker if he's traded. It's a hell of a contract. Very player friendly. Probably not a great contract for the Bucks, given his age, given the stuff that they got going on with the rest of their roster. But just in general, Miles Turner leaves the team that was in Game 7 of the NBA Finals after being there for 10 years, got that far. They were so close to a championship, but they couldn't pull it off. And the guy that's basically was there the whole time for every good and bad thing they ever had is gone. overnight. That's what happens when an injury takes place to your superstar and sends your next year into disarray. I am almost positive that Miles Turner remains a Pacer if Halliburton doesn't go down. But these injuries to these superstars, these injuries, these Achilles injuries, send entire organizations into different directions, yo. Different directions. And you're seeing that here in this situation in multiple fronts. Because in order for the Bucks to have signed Miles Turner, they would have needed to do the next thing that we're going to talk about, which is the Milwaukee Bucks are waiving Damian Lillard and stretching the remaining $113 million on his contracts in order to acquire Miles Turner. He also went down with an Achilles tendon injury and is now on the waiver wire. But of course, his injury is going to keep him out for the season. So he's going to be a free agent next year. But he's getting paid $22 million a year for the next 4 years by the Milwaukee Bucks in this stretching, the biggest stretching in the history of the sport. Bucks GM John Hurst and CAA co-host of head of basketball Austin Brown partners executing a massive deal in the market's scarce of salary cap space during the opening days of free agency. Milwaukee retools aggressively around Giannis once again. And Giannis tweeted, "I don't know what's going on." This is craziness. So, Giannis and Miles Turner, it's a hell of a front court. Is it enough to keep Giannis wanting to stay in Milwaukee? I know the Bucks re-signed Porter to a dirt cheap deal. He can start at the point guard. He was going to any damn way. But is that the answer? Or are they going to try to do something else? Getting Dame stretched, I'm not really sure what that does for their books as it pertains to allowing them to make other moves. I do believe that there should be like $22 million or somewhere in the $20 million range left if stretching Dame got him effectively off the books and bringing in Miles to a $107 million deal. Should have some more money to do some more stuff. I don't know what else they're going to do. But maybe they can make a trade or two to try to get themselves some flexibility. They still appear to be in win now mode, obviously the Bucks, instead of pivoting away from win now. Moving on from Dame Lillard, I don't think Dame Lillard was going to come back the same player. He struggled mightily there. That contract was going to be held regardless. And they pivoted to try to hurry up and win now for Giannis. So they didn't want to leave Giannis without acquiring somebody who could help him win now. I get that. Miles Turner is the best they could do. I get that. They re-signed Bobby Portis. They re-signed Gary Trent. They re-signed Porter. If I'm not mistaken, they also signed Taurean Prince. So they're trying to run it all the way back without Dame, but they gave themselves more front court depth, another stretch five. Moving on from Brook Lopez, they essentially brought back Brook Lopez because that's exactly the production that Miles Turner gonna give him, a little more, but same thing. I don't know, man. The Bucks, they're hoping this is enough. They're hoping that he feels good about this. In the Easy East, he probably does feel like he can compete, but can he beat who they need to be able to beat? No. When it really comes down to it, and I say this about all win-now teams, at the end of the day, you're running into the Thunder. Can you beat the Thunder? If the answer is no, then you're not a win-now team. And can any of these teams beat the Thunder? I don't believe they have a chance. None of these teams that did all this stuff to win now look like they can beat the Thunder. None of them. Not at all. The Rockets don't look like they can beat the Thunder. The Bucks don't look like they can beat the Thunder. The Knicks can't beat the Thunder, but at least they got better and they have a timeline for which to go forward past right now. Some of these teams, they win now. Timeline is right now. Timberwolves can't beat the Thunder. I don't believe in none of these teams, but I feel for the Bucks in a way because they are so beholden to Giannis that they keep making decisions that put them in such a hole that they damn near are saying we expect our team will be sold if we can, for like pennies on the dollar if we can't keep Giannis. We expect we'll never be any good again and never get anything good again if we don't keep Giannis. And that's how they're approaching their free agency. That's how they're approaching every damn thing. The Nuggets got off Dario Saric, moved on from him for Jonas Valanciunas. I was listening to someone talk about what the Nuggets needed to do, and moving on from Saric was something that needed to be done in order for them to have the flexibility to do more things. I think the Denver Nuggets are doing a great job. I really do. Even though moving on from Porter changes the game a little bit, I thought they basically upgraded by bringing in Johnson. Bringing back Bruce Brown was a good decision for them. And now moving on from Dario Saric, a non-useful player, to Jonas Valanciunas, who's also a non-useful player, but gives them a more boosted up front court behind Jokic, another big player that has to be dealt with, to size personified. I'd imagine Jonas is on a more friendly contract so that they have more flexibility. If that is the case, I think that's an excellent move. Moving off from Dario Saric was essential to their flexibility and to the overall depth. He wasn't doing nothing. Sacramento Kings, I'm hearing rumors about what Sacramento's trying to do. I'm not really sure what Dario Saric's contract looks like to them, but Sacramento looks like they're making stuff happen. That if the rumors are true that they're really going to trade Malik Monk for Dennis Schroeder, as a Laker fan who's had both of those players extensively, I can tell you that's stupid on the Sacramento part. I know you need a point guard, even though you traded away all the point guards needed to make your team any good. You had De'Aaron Fox. You let him get to a point where he didn't want to be there no more. You had Halliburton. You traded him away for Sabonis. You had Davion Mitchell. You let him dissipate into nothing and sign with Toronto in free agency, for which he ended up having a breakout year after moving on from there to Miami. You didn't do nothing with all these players you drafted. And your bright idea is to trade Malik Monk for Dennis Schroeder. I sure hope you don't actually do that. Malik Monk is far too talented to be playing around like that. Dennis Schroeder, I like Dennis Schroeder. He's a helpful piece. He's a little long in the tooth at this point. His contract's a little boosted up over there in Detroit. If Detroit can turn Dennis Schroeder into Malik Monk, that's a home run, grand slam. That's amazing if the Pistons can pull that off. But if Sacramento does that, they really do need to fire who they have in the front office. You got to fire your GM if he does that. And this move right here, I don't really know. Like, Dario Saric should be in China. He's long past being productive in the NBA. I think that's been proven time and time again at this point. So I don't know what that looks like contractually, but I can tell you that Denver needed to move on from Dario. I know that much. Gary Harris signed a 2-year deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. That was just put up right now by the Shams account. Bucks continue to fortify the roster with veteran wing play. Gary Harris is a nice perimeter defender, can hit a three-point shot. I'm not sure what he looks like. He's been in Orlando for a while now. So I guess he's continued to boost the Bucks' depth. They're trying to put something together in Milwaukee, you know. Do I believe in all this stuff they're putting together, if I'm being honest? No, I don't really like most of it. But they're bringing themselves something. They're bringing themselves win now, guys. They're hoping they could just boost this team with a bunch of names that could come together to make a cohesive unit. Bringing back guys that they've had for several years. They're trying. I'll give them that. Do I believe in Gary Harris? I never was a Gary Harris guy. Not really. Do I believe in Taurean Prince? Not really. Do I believe in Bobby Portis going forward? Not really. Although I like Bobby. Bobby's cool, but like, as a main piece, when I don't have other stuff, it's like Bobby. Nah, he's cool. Miles Turner as a number 2? No, not going forward. Do I believe in Gary Harris? Gary Trent? No, not really. I like Porter Jr., especially on that contract. I'm a believer there. Kuzma, NBA champion with the Lakers. Not based on that situation. I feel sorry for the Bucks. I just do. I just think that what's in their best interest is to just trade Giannis. And they're doing everything but trade Giannis, and they're bringing themselves role guys that are going to be in elevated roles than what they're actually in the NBA for. They're going to be asking the people that they have to do too much and hoping it works. And the stuff they're bringing themselves, if I'm being honest, ain't worth jack in the market. And when you're trying to prioritize fixing your situation, you need to have assets that you can retrade for more. Things that people are actually going to want when you say, hey, I got this, I got that, can you trade? The Bucks stuff that they're picking up right now, when they go to retrade this stuff, they're going to find out nobody wants it. Nobody wants any of this stuff, Milwaukee. Nothing that you just signed, anybody wants. So, in the grand scheme of trying to keep Giannis around, what you end up finding out is you've done nothing to do so, because while the pieces may fit on the basketball court, they must be upgraded to be as good as you're hoping they will be. And when it's time to do so, you're going to find that you're not capable of doing that based on them not being worth the upgrades, not combined in any way. You can't give me Gary Trent, Gary Harris, and Kyle Kuzma and expect for me to give you something that's going to be good play next to Giannis, because I'm going to tell you to go to hell with all of that. I am. You can't combine Taurean Prince and Bobby Portis and think I'm about to give you something. It's not going to happen, fam. I'm going to look at you and I'm going to pivot to somebody else who has better stuff. And so you're hoping this stuff is good enough to win with. It's not. But it's even worse when it's time to retrade it for stuff that can. So your idea is dead before it even gets started, Milwaukee. That's the truth. Whoever you got running your front office, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're scrambling trying to make something happen for Giannis, but they're going about it in a very opposite way. Very opposite. Your best bet, Milwaukee, is to not done any of this, but to trade Giannis for multiple picks and just be comfortable with the risk of trying to find something great again, because you're in the NBA, it's only 30 teams, and great stuff is going somewhere. You're going to have to deal with this even when Giannis retires. So why not deal with this now when you could actually trade Giannis for a bunch of stuff? If he retires in your uniform, you're at such a deficit because of everything else you signed around him that you're going to be in the toilet beyond toilets, trying to get out of these toilets with a small market. You got to move your team to Vegas because of what you're doing to keep Giannis. Look around, NBA. Look around. Bucks specifically. Nobody else has Giannis. Are they all thriving with what it is that they can build with? Yes. Do you know why? Because great talent goes to teams. So you got to do is position yourself to be one of the teams that gets the great young talent. If you're doing everything you can to assure that you can't get the great young talent, then you're not much of an NBA team. You're beholden to one guy as if he's the only guy you're ever going to get. And because of it, he's the only guy you're ever going to get. You're backing yourself into the corner that ultimately you're afraid of by moving scared. I would tell Giannis, thank you for everything you've done. We love you, bro. We're going to send you somewhere where we can get the best return. We know you can win there because you can win anywhere if you just have enough. Unfortunately, because of the stuff that we've done to keep you, we don't have it. We would love for you to retire here, and if you want to do a farewell tour here when you've done what you've done, where you're going, we'll bring you back to retire here so we can have that farewell tour. But as far as what's going to happen between now and that point, we can't get to any space doing the stuff we're doing that's actually going to keep you happy. You would be best for leaving this place. You would be best for leaving this place right now while you have a lot left in the tank to win. And they just won't do it. They refuse to do it for reasons that are probably misguided. They're doing stuff that's misguided, and they're building themselves into a worse hole. A worse hole. So what they're going to have to do, if they have any sense at all, is trade Miles Turner. Now that they got him, he's their best trade piece. You got to trade him. If you have any hope of getting yourself out of this hole, you're going to trade Miles Turner rather quickly. I'm just being honest. You got to trade him, and you got to try to get a first-round pick or multiple second-round picks and multiple young players in his stead. Now, is he going to return that? I don't believe he will. But the only way out of this hole is the same way you got into it. Moving what you moved to keep Giannis. What you brought to yourself to keep Giannis. And the only thing that anybody would want on that entire team besides Giannis at this point is Miles Turner. And maybe Porter Jr. on a dirt cheap contract. That's it. Everything else you have on your team, believe it or not, nobody should want. None of them. Maybe Bobby, maybe Kuzma, but not for anything you want. The rest of that stuff is worth jack crap in the market, man. Jack. When I say jack, it's worth jack. None of this is worth anything, Milwaukee. You got to know that. So, that's what I want to say to Milwaukee Bucks, man. In the easy East, can they make the playoffs? Yeah, of course. With Giannis healthy? Yeah, of course. Is Giannis going to be doing too much? Yeah, of course, because the rest of that stuff ain't going to hold weight? Yeah, of course. None of that's going to hold any weight, man. And the team ain't no good, man. And their front office is doing dumb stuff, man. Real dumb stuff. I'm just being honest. And they're doing it out of desperation. And I would love to see what the experts have to say, what everybody, all the talking heads have to say. But me, as somebody who pays attention to this stuff with my own confidence and how I speak and think, I've seen things come to pass. I'm telling you, Milwaukee is in the toilet. They're making it worse. Stretching Dame Lillard was something they felt they had to do. But I'm telling you, Dame Lillard coming back from injury at least has the name Dame Lillard attached to it. You feel me? It might have been 2 years before they were able to actually play it up to be traded, and you wonder if he's going to get re-injured or if he's just going to be so bad that, I get it. At this point, he looked bad before the injury, as we've already mentioned, so you don't know if you're ever going to be able to play him up. But you got to try, man. But the urgency to keep Giannis now makes you stretch him so you can't turn him into a tradable asset at all. You're just paying and paying and paying and paying and paying and paying for nothing that's going to be on the basketball floor, which is something you don't sign up for. You don't sign up for that. But to keep Giannis, they will sign up for that. This is so stupid. This is so stupid, y'all. Because whatever the worst case scenario was for Dame, at least you had something on your books that had a massive name that you could say, okay, 2 years, 3 years from now, we could take this piece and get something for it. Because us, in our situation, need to get something for everything that we lose. We need to get something for everything that we lose. But they took the second biggest name on their roster, who's injured, and stretched him, which is going to bother them long after this year, as we already described. And it took a bunch of more money and paid somebody who's going to have to do more than he's capable of doing to make any of this make sense. It's just like, yo, how much of a hole can we dig ourselves in to keep somebody? And in doing so, creating the environment for which he should want to leave if he has any damn sense. This is why you leave, if you're honest. It's not why you stay, it's why you leave. So, that's what I gotta say, man. Well, Milwaukee is in the pits of hell, man. I thought Phoenix was in a bad spot, but I think Milwaukee's in an even worse one after what they've done today. I think their situation is god-awful. I think the decisions they're making is so misguided, so bad for them. And I think their fan base is going to be the ones that suffer the most, man. And they're trying to keep Giannis. I think Giannis needs to get out of there now. If Giannis gets if he were to watch this video and believe what it is I just said, he's going to demand a trade. You going to demand a trade? You got to get out of there, bro. I know you don't want to hurt people's feelings because I know they're trying so hard to keep you. But the reality is they are doing the very thing that creates an environment for which a superstar should get the hell out of there fast. They are. And they have to reset their situation whether they like it or not, and Giannis is going to have to be the one to make them do it. That's what it comes down to. He's going to have to leave, man. He's not going to win anything there anymore. And he's already delivered, so there's no reason to keep on fighting like you haven't done so. So, it's miserable, man. The Milwaukee Bucks boy, were they in a good space just 2 years ago. 3 years ago, they were in a good space. But when you trade away multiple pieces to bring yourself Dame Lillard, it's what happens to you. Y'all wanted to undercut Miami so bad. That's what I say to the Bucks. Y'all wanted to undercut Miami so damn bad. You knew that man wanted to go to Miami. But in this ever quest to keep Giannis happy at all costs, Giannis gets the bright idea he wants to play with Dame, and y'all acquiesce to that. Misguided decision to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo. It crashes and burns and simmers in the ocean forever. And you do more dumb stuff to try to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm sorry. But if you don't know what you're doing, the last thing you need to be doing is anything to keep somebody happy. That's the last thing you need to be doing. This is a cautionary tale for all teams in sports. If you got something that is one of a kind, you better have people in place that know how to make it a desirable place to stay. Because if you don't know what it takes to make a place desirable, and you have something as precious as that player to keep happy, and you start taking advice from that player, this is what you can get. You can turn it to the Milwaukee Bucks. This is what you can turn it to, ladies and gentlemen. This right here. Awful. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. The Bucks are in hell. Everybody there is in hell. And if Giannis has any sense at all, he's going to say, get me the hell out of here right now. So that's where we're at as it pertains to free agency. Nothing has updated from there. And I'm going to get my day started. But, man, this is a nightmare for the Bucks and everybody there, man. BDL44. I thank y'all for watching.